My name is Maria Bermudez, and I am a disability lawyer. So I'm making this video to talk about what happens after you get a fully favorable decision from an administrative law judge. Well, the first thing is it for Social Security disability insurance benefits, or is it SSI, Supplemental Security Income benefits? Those are two different types of benefits, although the evaluation for disability is the same. The technical aspects of the claims are different, and that's something that I have another video about and I've spoken about in length. So it's really, really important to know what you were approved for. Is it Social Security disability insurance benefits, or is it SSI? Sometimes it's both. So if it's Social Security disability insurance benefits, now that you have the decision, what happens is that decision then goes to a different department. The decision comes from the judge's department, the Office of Hearing Operations. So they make the decision, but they're not the one that's actually paying out the benefit itself, right? They have different processing departments. So what happens after you get the fully favorable decision is then it goes to a different department that then is going to calculate the benefits. So if it is SSD, Social Security Disability Insurance Benefits, which is based on your work history and work credits, then that often typically comes faster because it doesn't require what's called a perk appointment, which is a pre-effectuation review. I don't know what the C is for, I forget. But anyway, the point is that it does come a little bit faster because you already established that you have the work credits. And so you don't have to meet those financial eligibility requirements that SSI requires. So that's going to come a little bit faster, but it still may take some time because it has to be processed. So the first thing you're going to get is the notice of decision, which is like, hey, we find you disabled, according to the Social Security Act. And then the second thing that's going to happen is you're going to be getting a notice of award, which typically comes several weeks. It could even be 2 to 3 months after you get the fully favorable decision from the administrative law judge. Now, the notice of award. What is the notice of award for SSD going to say? So it's going to say what day you're found to be disabled from, which is different from your eligibility date many times, right? So your eligibility date, it's important to know for Social Security disability insurance benefits, the first 5 months of disability, you are not entitled to a financial benefit. So if you are found to be disabled January 15th, February, March, April, May, June, you're not eligible for a benefit. Your first benefit month eligibility date is going to be July. So that's the way they're calculating it. So in that notice of award, it's going to tell you your disability date, and then it's going to tell you your eligibility date. That's the day you first are eligible for a benefit, okay? And then it's going to tell you your back pay, because if you had to go in front of an administrative law judge, that means you had to wait months, most times years, to get a decision. So there's going to be, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 2 years. Sometimes it's even several years of back pay. So it's going to tell you how much your back pay is, your retroactive benefit. And it's going to tell you how much the attorney fee is. So the attorney fee is typically 25%, according to Social Security's rules, of the back pay. Now, there's limitations. It used to be $6,000 for many years. Then it went up to $7,000 was the maximum attorney could get. In September, it's supposed to go up to, I believe, $9,000 or $9,200 is the max an attorney can get. So in that situation, if the back pay is, say, so if the back pay is $40,000, 25% would be $10,000. But because there's limitations, depending on when you're awarded, the attorney fee is not going to ever be $10,000. It's going to be whatever that limitation is. So it's 25% up to a maximum of whatever that the rules say is at the time of your decision. And Social Security mandates that. There are certain exceptions. For example, if you have a federal court case, or if the attorney has to file a fee petition versus just getting the 25%. But those are very specific circumstances, and the majority of the time, it's going to be 25% of past due benefits up to that maximum. So back to the notice of award. So you're getting in that notice of award. So first is the decision. Second is the notice of award, which typically comes 6 to 8 weeks after the decision, can be 2 to 3 months, depending on Social Security's workload. So first you get the decision, it goes to a different department, then you get the notice of award. The notice of award is telling you your disability date, your eligibility date, your back pay, how much they're paying the attorney fee, and how much you're getting paid monthly and when. So it may be the first week of the month, it could be the second week of the month, the third week, the fourth week. So they're giving you all that information so you know exactly what to expect moving forward. Now, the number one question I get when somebody gets a Social Security disability award or favorable decision is, they're asking me all these questions. We have some information as to what you may be getting and when, the family maximum, that sort of thing. But our information is not official. The official information has to come from Social Security. We get estimates in your record. But when you get that notice of award, it's going to give you the official information, how much you're going to get, how much the back pay is, when you're going to get it, etc. Okay? So a lot of times people will ask me when they get a fully favorable decision, what about my kids? So if it's Social Security disability insurance benefits, right? It's based on your work history, your work credits that you've accumulated through your work history. Typically, if you have children under 18, they may be, if you work long enough and have enough credits, they will be able to get up to half total of whatever you're getting. So if you're getting $2,000 a month and you have 2 kids, then they can get, up to $1,000 a month for both of them, right? So that's what we call an auxiliary benefit, a supplemental. So in that situation, you have to file for it after you get your award, after you get, awarded benefits, you have to file for that directly with Social Security. And that would be the custodial parent, the person who's taking care of the children. So that's not automatic. It is something that you may be eligible for, and you have to, go to Social Security and call them, and they do require an application for that. Now, you don't have to prove anything other than, that they're your kid and that you have, if there's any issues as to custody or anything like that. But it's not like you have to go through another, year-long process or anything like that. It's going to be automatic, but you still have to prove that, you're entitled and that you have these children, they are yours, and that you have custody, that you're the person taking care of them, or whoever the person is taking care of them will have to show that. So sometimes dad might get awarded disability benefits, or mom might get awarded disability benefits, and that child is not living with them. It could be with a grandparent, it could be with the other, person, the other parent. So in that situation, proceed accordingly, the person who's taking care of the child. Okay, so another question that comes up frequently is Medicare. So Medicare, a person is eligible when they have Social Security disability insurance benefits. That's the one where you have the work history and the work credits. They're eligible for Medicare 24 months after the eligibility date. So you are eligible for benefits, say, in July of 2022. So July of 2024, that's when the Medicare is going to kick in. So you will get a separate notice from Social Security about Medicare and the process for that, and how much the premium is as well. It's a little over $100, so maybe like $130 or something like that. But that information directly comes from Social Security and the Medicare department, and they will explain to you when you're eligible for Medicare. Rule of thumb, it's 2 years after your eligibility date, and how much it's going to cost. And it comes right out of your Social Security disability check monthly. the Medicare premium. You can also get supplement plans, that sort of thing, for things that aren't covered by the primary Medicare benefit. Okay, so those are the most frequently asked questions that I get in relation to a fully favorable decision for Social Security disability insurance benefits. Now, sometimes my clients are getting SSI only, meaning they didn't work long enough or they don't have enough credits for SSD, so they have SSI only, or sometimes they have both benefits that they may qualify, meaning that they have low income and assets, so they also qualify for SSI. And maybe their primary Social Security disability benefit is low, so they may be getting a little bit extra from SSI, or maybe they apply during the time that they applied, those first 5 months that they weren't eligible for SSD, they may be eligible for SSI. So in that situation, Social Security is going to be conducting what they call a perk appointment, the pre-effectuation review. And that, I think it's conference, pre-effectuation review conference. I have to figure out what that C is for the perk. We just call it perk. So the perk appointment that Social Security does, they are going to be asking who you live with, if you have any income, if you're getting any other benefits from the state, whether it's food stamps, that sort of thing. So with SSI, you're not going to be eligible, if it's SSI only, you're not going to be eligible for Medicare because that's connected to SSD, but SSI is connected to Medicaid. Most of my clients are already getting Medicaid if they're filing for SSI. So that's not going to be something that's new. But what may be new is that they're not going to have to do those annual reviews in order to be eligible, because SSI, you're going to be eligible for Medicaid, and they work together hand in hand. So the perk interview, a lot of times SSI benefits, the release of back pay, everything is going to be delayed a little bit because so now you have the fully favorable decision that says that you're disabled, but you have to meet these technical financial requirements. So so by nature, there's going to be a delay because you have to go to the perk interview. Now that perk interview could be 6, 8 weeks or more after you get that fully favorable decision. So what I recommend is you don't necessarily have to wait for Social Security to, schedule that. You can go in there and say, I need to do my perk interview. I need to schedule this, or I need to do this. You can call Social Security to do it as soon as possible. Get that perk interview done. Give them the information that they need in order for them to be able to process your SSI benefit. Now, one thing that's different between SSD and SSI when it comes to the retroactive benefit, there's a couple of things that are different. But one thing that's noticeably different is for SSD only, they're going to release the whole back pay. So Social Security could owe you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, depending on, or more, depending on how long your claim has been pending. Sometimes for SSI, it's been pending a long time too, but unfortunately, you're not going to get the release right away for that back pay when you have SSI. So they give $2,000 up front, and then they give $2,000 again in 6 months, and then you have to wait another 6 months. So, my clients typically, they're not happy about that. They're that they have to wait to get that back pay. But those are the rules for Social Security. There may be situations where you can get your back pay released, or at least a portion of it, a little bit earlier. And that's something that you can address directly with Social Security and have to provide them proof of how money was spent and that sort of thing. But as a rule of thumb, that's what you should expect is $2,000 up front, then $2,000 in 6 months, and then another 6 months. So that's how that works. So another thing that's important with SSI is that initial 5 months that we talked about with SSD, where your eligibility, that's not the same with SSI. So if you filed in January of 2022, say January 15th of 2022, February is the first eligibility month for SSI. So there isn't that 5-month waiting period. So your back pay is calculated for the month after you filed. If you filed on the first of the month, then that month is included too. So if you filed January 1st, 2022, January of 2022 is your first eligibility month. So it is a little bit confusing, and this is why it's important to pay very close attention to the award letters. The same is the case with SSI as with SSD. You will be getting a very detailed award letter that explains how much you're getting, what your back pay is, what the attorney fee is, when you will be getting your monthly benefits. Now, how much is your monthly benefit for SSI? For SSI, it is the same for everyone, and the criteria is very clear. So for SSD, it's based on your work credits. For SSI, it's every single year, it's the statutory amount, the same amount. Now, it can be reduced because it's like a welfare benefit. It can be reduced if other people are helping you. So say, for example, you tell Social Security, like, oh, my son gives me $300 a month, like, or, you know, or if your husband or your wife is working, that's going to play a factor in your SSI benefit because it's based on your household income. If you're married, the spouse's income comes into play. If you're working, you know, part-time and you get income, that's going to come into play. If you are, say you're, you know, 36 years old and you live with your parents and they're helping you, they're paying for your, you know, your room and board, they're providing room and board for you, then your monthly benefit is going to be reduced because of that. So there's a lot of things that come into play with SSI in terms of the amount. There is a full SSI amount that's different every single year. And then there, you know, it can be reduced depending on the other people that are helping you. And also, if you have to say in that scenario where you're 36 years old and you're living with your parents and they're providing the room and board for you, if you have to pay rent to them and you have an agreement that you know, they were helping you out while your claim was pending and you have to pay rent to them, there are situations where you still can get the full benefit amount. The rules are very specific when it comes to that, and you have to provide proof. So the best thing to do is, you know, maintain an open line of communication with Social Security, be open and honest about what your situation is, and make sure you're documenting, if you have SSI, exactly what financial support that you're getting and what your bills are, how much income you may have in any bank accounts. They're going to request all of that information. So I hope you found this information helpful. To recap, whether it's SSD or whether it's SSI, you're going to get your fully favorable decision. Later in the mail, you'll get what's called a notice of award. If you have SSI only or SSI is involved in your claim period, whether it's SSI only or SSD and SSI, you're going to be required to go to a perk appointment to provide financial information, income, and assets. Another key point is Medicaid is connected to SSI, Medicare is connected to SSD. And all of this information comes to you in the mail by way of notices that Social Security automatically sends. So I hope you found this information helpful. My name is Maria, and I am a disability lawyer. Thank you.